Hello, welcome to the video. This is the fourth video for the learning package, e-learning package for door supervision qualification. You have to watch this video, is mandatory, and also watch all the other videos that have been uploaded before. So we have uploaded three videos before. That's the fourth one, and there's another one, fifth one will be coming soon. All videos have to be completely watched, and obviously you need to complete the multiple choice questions before coming to the qualification. Why it is important to watch all these videos? Because we will not be covering this content in the class, and you will be tested on these topics. That's why it's quite important for you to watch all these videos. So we'll look at um, learning outcome 5, understand fire procedures in the workplace. Um, let's have a look. So fire safety measures, fire safety on the premises or the site is important. Why is it important? Because fire can damage, fire can kill both staff, any visitors, customers, could be anyone. If a fire is in the workplace, it could result in the disruption of normal business activities, and can affect the profitability because you might have to close the premises. You might have to, your insurance premium might go higher. Yeah. So good fire safety is everyone's responsibility, not just your employer, but everyone's responsibility. And how to do that, we'll have a look. Now, basic fire principle prevention measures include switching off all non-essential electrical appliances. Yeah, switching all electrical appliances if they are not being used. Okay, not overload electrical points. Never ever do that. Regularly inspect and maintain all electrical equipment, including the PAT testing. What is PAT testing? Portable appliance testing. Safely store flammable materials. Don't store them together. Store them separately. Store them in cabinets where only authorized people have access. Regularly empty ashtrays. Okay. Storing rubbish away from the building. Why you need to store rubbish away from the building? Because even if there is fire in the rubbish, it will take some time for the fire to get to the building. Meanwhile, fire brigade can get there and put it off. Keep electric and gas fires well away from the furniture. Why? Furniture is a flammable, highly flammable substance. So if you keep it next to them, it can ignite fire. Okay? Right. Now, under the Regulatory Reform Fire Safety Order 2005 and Scotland 2005, Scotland 2005, employers must nominate a competent person to carry out a full risk assessment, fire risk assessment, right? Carry out a fire risk assessment. Yeah, provide their employees with any relevant information, instruction, and training. Now, security operatives must also cooperate with their employer in all matters relating to fire safety. What can you do? Keep all the fire doors shut. Make sure you know how to raise the fire alarm. Make sure how you know where the assembly area is. Make sure you adhere to the sign in and sign out procedures so we always know who's inside and who's outside. Yeah. Uh, Now, if you don't do that, yeah, fires can cause massive damage. Massive. Now, for there to be a fire, the triangle of fire needs to be completed, right? The triangle of the fire needs to be completed. So we have oxygen, we have fuel, we have heat in the triangle of fire. If all these three elements comes together, there is fire. Okay. If you take away one of it, let's say I'm taking away the oxygen, the fire will go away. If I'm taking away the fuel, the fire will go away, which is very difficult to take away. Heat you can take away with different type of extinguishers or with other materials. We'll talk about it now, but the fuel is very difficult to take away. Now, if any of these three elements are greatly reduced or removed, then the fire itself will be reduced or extinguished, as we discussed earlier. Heat, a minimum temperature is needed to start a fire and for it to continue. So if you take the heat away, Fuel, fire needs something to burn like solid fuel, oil or gas, but difficult to take away. Oxygen, fire needs oxygen to burn as it supports the combustion process. So where the oxygen come from? From the atmosphere. Okay. Now we have five classes of fire, and then the last one is not a class, but let's have a look. Class A fires. Okay. Class A fires, we have ordinary combustible materials like organic materials like paper, wood, textile, rubber, plastic, fibers. Then class B, we have flammable liquids, petrol, oil, paints, and solvents, right? Then we have class C fires, gases, flammable gases, butane, propane, acetylene. Then we have class D fires, metal fires like magnesium, sodium, rubidium, all of that. And then we have class F fires, cooking oils and fats. Okay. Now, these are electrical fires. We don't give it a class. Why? Because look at class A, B, C, D, and F. All of them are classed as fuels. They burn. Paper burn, right? Petrol burn. Gases burn. Magnesium burn. Cooking oils will burn. Electricity will not burn itself. It will just provide an ignition source, right? That's why they don't call it class E, they just call it electrical fires. Okay, that's why we call it just electrical fires. Now, fire extinguishers. There are many types of fire extinguishers. They are used for small fires, have a limited capacity, 9 liters, 16 liters, can be easily carried to a fire, intended for the use by anyone, but sometimes you need specific training to use that. Now, security operatives need to know their uses, right? So you can learn it from a training provider. We do that as well. They need to know where they are stored, where they are located, and methods of operation. Yeah, they need to know that. Yeah. But remember, you are under no obligation to fight a fire. You don't have to fight a fire. If there is a fire, you need to raise the alarm. If you cannot fight the fire, you need to raise the alarm. Go to a point of safety and take everyone with you to a point of safety. Okay. Now we will look at the types of fire extinguishers. So class A, you can extinguish it with water. Obviously, it will take away the heat. You can use the foam. It will take away the heat again, as well as take away the oxygen because it smothers it. You can also use powder as well. You can use wet chemical as well. Class B fires, you can use foam, carbon dioxide, and powder. Well, I would personally use foam. What foam does, foam will smother it, foam will cover it and cut the supply of oxygen. Okay, carbon dioxide, not necessarily because it will be displaced in the air. Powder, you can use it, but only if you're trained to use it because powder can be dangerous. If you're not trained how to use it, you inhale it and it will be really bad for your respiratory system. Then class C fires, only powder you can use. Class D fires, only powder you can use. Class F, only wet chemical. Only wet chemical. It's for the kitchens, restaurants, and all that. So what wet chemical will do? It will spray a mist of potassium acetate and turn the oil into soap, right? That's what it does. And electrical fires, you can do carbon dioxide and powder. For electrical fires, never ever use water or foam. Why? Because then you will be electrocuted. Okay? Never ever use water or foam because foam is also water based. That's why you're not supposed to use water or foam for electrical fires. Okay? Now, these are some of the characteristics of a fire extinguisher. So this one here is basically content gauge. How much is left in there? That's the type of the fire extinguisher. Is it a water one? Is it a carbon dioxide one? Is it something else? Methods of operation. So instructions will be given here. How to use it. Class of fire suitable for. Which class is it suitable for? Class A, class B, class D. So even if you forget that information, this is given on the fire extinguisher. Service maintenance date, right? They need to be serviced every year. So there will be a sticker at the back. If it's more than 12 years, you need to report it to your supervisor so it can be serviced, right? They need servicing every year by a competent person. Now, only attempt to fight the fire if the alarm has been raised. So means maybe somebody has phoned the fire brigade, the emergency services has been called, the fire is not spreading and is confined to a small space. You have a clear escape route not threatened by fire. You have selected the correct fire extinguisher and you know how to use it. If you don't know how to use it, if you are scared of fires, you are under no obligation to fight the fires. Just raise the alarm and go to a place of safety. That's it. Now, do not attempt to fight a fire if it is bigger than a waste paper bin. Rule of thumb, right? Rule of thumb. You need to you need more than one fire extinguishers because they will be empty within like this. The room is filling with smoke, so you do not go into that room because majority of the deaths are not because of the direct burning, they are because of the inhalation of the toxic smoke. You do not have a clear escape route, then you do not fight the fire. There are gas cylinders or chemicals are involved, you just make your way out. Your efforts are not reducing the size of the fire, so you're trying to fight the fire, but the efforts are not making any difference, so you just make your way out. You do not have the correct extinguisher. If you do not have the correct extinguisher, you do not fight any fire, you just make your way out. Now, operating an extinguisher, select the correct extinguisher. If you don't know, you just see on the top what kind of fire I can fight with it. Check the content gauge, pull the pin out to break the seal, hold the extinguisher upright, squeeze the trigger, right? Test the range and content away from the fire. Now, extinguish the fire using the correct technique for that type of extinguisher and the nature of the fire. What they are saying, for example, carbon dioxide fire extinguisher, it will have a horn, a black horn. If you hold that horn, your hand will get so cold that will get stick to it. So you need to be able to know what fire extinguisher I'm using and how I need to use it. If you don't have the appropriate training, you don't use it, right? So encourage your employer to train you in the use of fire extinguishing equipment. If you don't know how to use it, never ever use it. Now, it is important that all security operatives take the correct actions on discovering the fire. What do you have to do? Follow the organizational policies and procedures. They may have an evacuation plan, and you, as a security officer, need to know about that evacuation plan. Sound the alarm and inform the emergency services. Follow the acronym. What acronym are they providing us? Fire. Find. You disclose a fire. Inform. Raise the fire alarm. Okay. Restrict. Restrict access to the area of the fire. Evacuate. Evacuate the building or extinguish. Now extinguish the fire if it is safe to do so. If not, just leave it. Then control panel. You need to know where the control panel is. Important to ensure full understanding of the extent of the area of the incident. So you need to know where's the escape route, where is the control panel, and how to use it to pass on to the correct message to the emergency services. For example, with regard to the materials or chemicals stored in the affected area. So you need to have proper induction of site. You need to know where the hazardous chemicals are stored. You need to know where the fuels are stored. You don't need to deal with it, but you need to inform the emergency services that that's where these high risk things are. Okay. Then most commercial and business buildings now have their own fire alarm system. Definitely. Yeah. Those are designed to detect fires as soon as they start, raise the alarm, and sometimes to call the fire brigade automatically. But it does not happen for every building. So you need to be careful before you deal with something. Security officers or operatives need to be aware of how their fire alarm system works and what they need to do on hearing the alarm. How would you know that? Your induction. You need to get proper induction of the building before you start working there. If you don't have induction, don't start working there. They need to inform you about the emergency procedures, about the fire alarms, about the evacuation routes, if there are any disabled people there, right? You need to have that information before you start work. Now, fire blankets can be used to extinguish fire by smothering them. What does that mean? Smothering them means taking the oxygen away. They are often found in kitchens as they are very useful for extinguishing fat fires in pans. Yeah, so you can use them. So if you cover the fire, the oxygen will go away and the fire will go away as well. Now, some fire alarm systems are connected to sprinklers as well, which spray water onto the fire from outlets in the ceiling, holding back the fire until the arrival of the first responders or fire services. Yeah, but you need to be aware of that because you will be the first point of contact for the emergency services and you need to inform them about it. Now, hose reels. Some buildings may have hose reels as well. Long length of rubber hose positioned strategically around the site to fight the fire, right? Permanently connected to the main water supply and are started by opening a valve. So you need to turn that valve clockwise, yeah, or sometime anti-clockwise, depending upon where it is, and then it will start delivering water. Can be quite heavy to unreel when needed, but are very effective when used as they provide a limitless supply of water. Okay, so it can be quite heavy to unreel when needed, but are very effective when used as they provide a limitless supply of water. Will only use it if you are comfortable. Okay. Now, some buildings have riser systems built in. Okay, these systems consist of long water pipes running along the outside of the building and across the ceilings on each floor, right? Allowing water to be dispensed via sprinklers to each floor in the event of fire, but you wouldn't know if you haven't got proper induction of the building. Now, wet riser systems have water in the pipes all the time, whereas dry riser systems need to be activated manually to send the water into the pipes. So it's important that your inductor make you aware of these things. Now, flooding systems are designed to be used in unoccupied rooms where there are high value contents or areas where a fire may cause major disruption to the activities of the organization. Okay, so examples might be archives for banks, for educational institutes, electrical equipment, or switch gear, right? On detection of fire, a fire extinguishing medium, most commonly carbon monoxide, will be discharged into the room to replace the air and extinguish the fire by smothering it. So for you, it is quite important that you don't enter that room. If you enter that room, the carbon dioxide will be inhaled and you might be passed out. You won't know what's happening. Okay, that's why your inductor need to tell you about that kind of a room. Now, fire doors and fire exits. What we need to do: internal fire doors help prevent, reduce the spread of smoke and fire flames from one room to another. That's why they need to be shut at all times. If it says it's a fire door, you as a security officer need to make sure it's shut. Should not be obstructed either, because you might need to use that door to make your way out. Now, fire exits, they are different from fire doors. Fire exits are a vital mean of escape in the event of a fire. Should be clearly marked, must not be blocked. As a security officer, that's your duty to make sure all fire exits are not blocked from inside, not blocked from outside, they're not chained, they're not closed, or they're not locked, right? They're not locked. They should be closed, but they shouldn't be locked. In a case of an emergency, people should be able to make their way out through them. Yeah, should not be obstructed from inside, from outside. So as a security officer, it's your job to make sure all fire doors are shut, yeah, in the event of a fire, so the fire does not spread, or also they are not obstructed, the main exit is not obstructed, and you need to make sure that you're able to take people to a place of safety. Now, fire alarm control panels. As a security officer, when you are inducted to a site, you should be aware of all of that. The warning and controlling units within a fire alarm system, you should be trained on that. If a fire emergency is detected, the panel alerts those monitoring it via various lights and audible alarms. So alarms will sound and there will be flashing lights. Security operatives can work out the type of emergency, exactly where it is occurring, because on the panel it will show you whether it's on the first floor, whether it's on the second floor, whether it's on the third floor. And if you're not able to deal with it, call the emergency services or the building manager. Now, some systems actually call the fire brigade itself, sound the fire alarm, unlock doors, cut off electricity and set off sprinkler system automatically. But you would not know that if your induction hasn't taken place or hasn't taken place properly. Okay, so you need to make your inductor aware that you want to know about the fire systems, fire panels, and everything. Otherwise, you might put yourself in danger and others in danger as well. Okay. So, in an evacuation, security operatives must take control, communicate effectively with the workforce, with the colleagues, with the emergency services, with your supervisors, with your companies. Help to evacuate the site quickly and safely. Encourage people to leave via the safest exit. Assist anyone who does not know where to go, and assist any vulnerable people, elderly, disabled, and children. Avoid causing unnecessary panic. Okay, tell them, look, you need to calm down, relax. I'm taking you to the place of safety. Know where the assembly point is. How would you know the assembly point, where the assembly point is? In your induction, you need to know the ins and outs of the building, all the exit points, all the assembly areas, where the fire extinguishers are. You need to know them. If you don't know them, you need to research. You need to ask your inductor what kind of fire alarm system it is, what kind of sprinkler system it is, how to inform the emergency services, where is the nearest emergency exit, where do I go to the place of safety. Okay, know what to do once the building is empty. Don't let anybody go inside unless it has been cleared by the management or the emergency services. Okay. Now, typical actions would include raise the alarm if there is fire. You raise the alarm, or if you can't raise the alarm, at least shout fire. Operate the nearest manual call point if fitted. Call the fire service 999, even 911, 112, 000. All will take you to the emergency services. Evacuate the area ASAP. Restrict access and isolate the fire if you can. Right? Make sure when you're leaving, close the fire doors behind you. Report to the assembly point and do not leave. Report to the assembly point and do the roll call and see if everybody is accounted for. If people are not accounted for, you need to speak to the emergency services and let them know that these people are not accounted for. Please, can you find them? Don't go inside to look for them. You're not trained to do so, right? You need to stay at assembly area and you need to advise the people to stay at assembly area unless somebody else has told to do so. Okay. Now, evacuation procedures need to be practiced. Yeah. Remember the 5 P's. You need to plan, you need to prepare, you need to prevent, you need to, uh, you know, pour. If you are poor at something, or you need to check your performance by acting promptly and correctly in times of emergency, security operatives can help to save times in the evacuation. Now, keep themselves and others safe, assist the emergency services, prevent injuries, and save lives. Yeah. So planning, preparation prevents poor performance. Planning, preparation prevents poor performance. Okay. So if you've done the planning, if you are prepared, it will prevent the poor performance. Now, fire wardens and marshals. In the building, fire wardens and marshals must be nominated. Members of the staff, it could be a security officer, it may not be a security officer. Members of staff nominated to take responsibility for a particular area with regards to fire safety. So let's say there are 5 floors. Each floor have one fire marshal who will be evacuating people, taking them to the place of safety. Now, numbers will vary depending on the size of the site. Yeah, could be 1, could be 2, could be 10, could be 100. It depends where you are. Now, under the Regulatory Reform Fire Safety Order of 2005, they are there to assist the designated person responsible for general fire safety. So there will be a designated person. The fire marshals need to assist them evacuate people to a place of safety. Okay. Now you can practice that in the form of fire drills, a couple of fire drills every year, right? Where you can see the people's behavior. So you raise the fire alarm. Don't tell the people, take them to a place of safety, see if people are following your advice, learn from that and implement more procedures, create more procedures, and then try and learn from those fire drills. Now, typical duties of a fire marshal and fire warden include assisting with the fire risk assessments, checking all doors, escape routes are unlocked and unobstructed, ensuring all fire extinguishers are in a correct position with seals in place, checking all safety signs are clearly visible and in the correct position. A security officer can do that as well, but a fire marshal will be fully equipped to deal with all of that. Now, typical duties include making sure that all alarm call points are unobstructed and working correctly, checking all fire doors are closed and functioning properly, ensuring corridors and walkways are kept clear because in the case of fire, people need to make their way out. So all the corridors, all the fire exits must be unobstructed from inside, from outside, ensuring assembly points are clearly marked and easily accessible. So you need to know where the assembly area is, where the muster point is, and it should be easily accessible, right? You can practice that during the fire drills. Report any faulty equipment to your management so that can be fixed. It's the duty of a fire marshal as well as a security officer, so that need to be reported. So any equipment that is faulty need to be fixed. Now, during a fire situation, their duties will include sounding the alarm or calling the fire service, yeah, assisting with the evacuation, fighting the fire only and only if it is safe to do so, ensuring everyone is out of the building, closing doors and windows, right? Why? So that to stop the spread of fire. Manning the assembly point, right? Manning the assembly point is so people do not leave from there, right? Why you need to keep people there? Because then if somebody is unaccountable for, the fireman will be losing their life inside and they might be eating chicken and chips somewhere. So make sure people don't move from the assembly area, do the roll call. If somebody is missing from there, that's why sign in and sign out procedures are quite important. Everybody needs to sign in and sign out. So in the case of a fire, you know who is in and who is out. Okay. Taking or assisting with the roll call, you can do that. Assisting the fire coordinator, you can speak to the emergency services, tell them this is a high risk area, this is not the high risk area. That's where the maybe assembly area. That's where maybe you have somebody who is disabled, who's stuck in the building. Yeah, all these duties are your duties, but depends on the structure of your site. But main thing is, I will end this topic by saying that the main thing is you need to have proper induction of your site. You need to know everything. You need to know about the fire doors. You need to know about the fire exits. You need to know about where the gathering point is. You need to know who is signing in and who is signing out, and how to do the roll call and how to liaise with the emergency services. Right? You can have firefighting training, with the fire extinguishers. That's not mandatory, but if you know, that will be a plus point. Okay, good. Thank you very much. Let's ask you a couple of questions. State the three elements needed for a fire to start and survive. Obviously, we know that: heat, fuel, and oxygen. Heat, fuel, and oxygen. List four tasks a fire marshal may be required to carry out. Obviously, there are quite a few, but we'll mention four: sounding the alarm, checking allocated areas to ensure everyone has left, taking control of the evacuation and ensuring anyone with evacuation difficulties is aided, like a disabled person, right? Proceeding to the assembly area and reporting to the fire officer in charge. Okay. Now they're asking list four classes of fire and their meaning. There are five or six, you can say, but they've only mentioned four here, so we'll give them four. They've given five. So class A, paper, wood and textile; class B, flammable liquids; class C, flammable gases; class D, metal fires; and class F, cooking oils and fats. And then there are electrical fires. Why we call them electrical fires? Because because electricity does not burn. It only provides ignition. All of these, they burn. That's why they have classes. Okay, so that's the end of the fourth video. Okay, now what you need to do, you need to do the multiple choice questions, and this content will not be covered in the class, so make sure that you read it properly and you read the notes and you read or look at the slides, and also you look at this video very carefully, because we will not cover this content again, and you will be tested in the real examination on these topics. So it is quite important that you read and understand them. Thank you very much. We'll come back with the fifth video now.